My guest is a stand-up comedian, podcaster, writer. God, I hate doing these intros. Actor, fucking all of the above. Co-host of Here's the Scenario podcast. Excited to welcome Mike Cannon. Just starting so well.
This is my favorite start to any podcast. I felt you notice how disingenuous it was.
I gotta just do these fucking intros. I get so much shit for it from every fucking because I want people to know. Like, I mean, I know you're super famous, but the people that don't know who you are, it's like some idea of who the fuck this person is gonna be for the next hour.
Yeah, no, but it's necessary work.
Yeah,
but the best part is that you were so concise and professional. Like, it was like Casey Kasem shit. Yeah. Like, it was like, all right, welcome back to the top 50, and this one is for Monica.
Dude, I'm gonna have a good radio career eventually. Yeah. Like, just keep smoking cigarettes. It'll grow in that way.
Mm-hmm. I think my voice is starting to get actually affected by like smoking because I always joked. I was like, I'm smoking blunts until I sound like Lil Wayne. Yeah. And now like my chest is heavy. I'm like coughing up brown shit.
Well, you gotta have fucking syrup too for that. Like,
oh yeah. I guess codeine probably had some sort of effect.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever fuck with codeine?
I mean, accidentally. I like overtook Robitussin once.
Okay. But was that actually codeine in there?
Yeah, so really? they have the one with like DXM or something like that. It's the active ingredient. I think, I don't know. It's Sagalow. My co-host Brendan Sagalow is like truly used to robo trip all the time on purpose in high school. That was like his
He's been on this podcast before too.
Yeah. Oh, I bet he loves it.
Dude, his 4-inch dick thing. Like, he said it so confidently. Like so matter of fact, and I rarely does somebody say something and I'm like, what did you just say?
Yeah, no
hesitation.
But he also said it like nobody's ever told him that's not enough. You know what I mean? Like that's fine to have a 4-inch dick. It's perfectly fine. To act like you've never heard that that's considered small it means you just do not exist on this planet.
It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a kid would know that. A kid would be like 4 inches.
Shout out to Sagalow.
Shout out.
Before we dive into the episode, just got to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. If you have a question for Mike or myself, throw it in the comments. And if you have anything to say shit on the intro of this, whatever, just throw it in.
Yeah.
Also, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/FNFpod. So you just fucking came down from BC, right?
Yeah. So I was in New Westminster, which that I didn't know how close it was to Vancouver until I booked my flight last minute because I was like, I don't even know where I'm flying into for this.
Do you have to take a ferry?
No. So I flew into Vancouver and then it's just like 30 minutes away.
Rick Bronson's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it?
I mean, the venue itself is beautiful. It looks like they robbed like an old theater.
Yeah.
And then just set up a comedy show. Nobody really knows about it.
Was that the first Rick Bronson's you've done?
Yeah.
They're nice.
Yeah, they are. It was really nice.
Arizona one's really nice. The Phoenix one.
I haven't been there.
You should check it out.
Actually, I've never done comedy in Arizona.
It's interesting.
I bet. So it was cool, but people were like, dude, it's the ghetto of Vancouver. That's like what everybody warned me about. It's the ghetto of Vancouver. Dude, there's like the whole place is just formal dresses. The entire row, the whole street. I was like, I've never seen a hood in my life that had so many places you could get a prom dress, wedding dress.
The ghetto for you being from New York is quite a bit different too from like fucking Canadian ghetto.
Yeah. I mean, I learned about it.
Yeah. So was it, what do you mean, like dresses and shit like that?
No, like the entire area that I stayed in. First of all, it looked like season 2 of The Wire. It was the port. Like that was the whole area. And they were like, hey, just don't walk around with like headphones and like keep your thing. I was like, there's nobody even there. There's literally no one. It's amazing. Like so whatever. So the entire row of truly every other store, if not every store, was a formal dress store, like a wedding store or a prom store.
What's the nice part? Like, it's got to be like amazing. If it's like that's fucking Canada, dude.
I didn't understand what they meant by it's the ghetto. I guess they just meant like you could get pills there. Probably.
Yeah. Did you try?
I didn't. No, I'm not a big pill guy.
Decent. Yeah, I lost my privileges. That was my shit though for a while.
I've done speaking of Sagalow, he and we did this cruise maybe last year with Bobby Kelly, Feeney, Mike Calta from Tampa. Do you know Mike Calta?
I don't know.
He's a radio guy, he's the best. And he has his cruise, hugely popular. He's like the Howard Stern of Florida, huge guy. So we
when you say cruise, what do you mean? Like paint a picture for me a little bit.
A huge cruise, and we are a party on the cruise of like a couple hundred. So his fans came out. We did shows, we did like some events, dinners, stuff like that. It was a free
fun.
Paid cruise, I guess, for us. Like we got a vacation out of it, and it was like got to hang with our boys. Whatever. We went to some man-made island in Mexico. You know, you like bump the boat into that. There's like it's held up by rafts. It's ridiculous. It's all little huts that basically is owned by whatever the cruise company is.
Were you guys doing stand-up at night?
We did it twice. So the first night on the cruise ship, we did it. And then the last night on the cruise ship, we did a live podcast.
Okay.
It was awesome. The live podcast was awesome. Also, Brendan we all actually kind of got assaulted by a 75-year-old woman who like jumped on our laps, was blackout drunk, and just like licking Sagalow's face. It was brutal. So the point of this is that we went to the man-made island and we went to the pharmacia because I'm not drinking. So I'll pop a pill, I guess, just to feel something. And we got Klonopin. And Brendan made the lady, this Mexican woman who, that
was licking him.
She's behind the counter of the pharmacy. He's like, "Can you promise me this doesn't have fentanyl in it?" And she was like, "Sure." Like, yeah, sure. I promise. And Brendan's like, "Okay." So he took a Klonopin. I waited an hour. And then I took a Klonopin, and then Brendan doesn't remember the live podcast.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So that's my last foray into pills, and I think
my brother did that. My brother does not handle pills well, and we were like,
does anyone?
I've seen some people that I took like 12 Vicodin in high school once with my buddy,
nice.
And I guess like the Tylenol is what is actually dangerous in it. Like the actual pain reliever or the opiate isn't what's bad. But like we were just at Taco Bell and we just kept like every 15 minutes we go out and take it was tight though, dude.
At what point were you like, oh, now I'm just adding to the fun? Like when did it kick in to the point where you were like, more, I want to get more fucked up? Because didn't you feel like you might die at some point?
I think it was over a couple of hours.
Okay.
And like I knew that, this is like fucking ridiculous, but I knew I was really fucked up when I went home and looked at porn. And like I started laughing, just like I had to stop what I was doing because I was like, I was so fucked up right now. And it was in my parents' basement too. Yeah. And it was like at 3 o'clock in the morning, like just...
That's funny, man. You just reminded me of some like really sad college moments. Is that like you can know, or I know when I'm like way too fucked up when you come home from the bar and you're like, all right, I guess I'll jerk off. It just didn't happen tonight. And then you turn on porn and you just start welling up. You're like half crying and you're just like, forget it.
You just watch it for what it is.
Yeah, it's not.
Have you ever seen that MTV True Life? I'm Addicted to Porn.
No, I don't think so.
Fascinating, dude.
I bet.
It's like on your flight home, you should check it out. It's all like online for free. Like you can get it on there. But there's this one guy, he lives like, he's like living with his grandmother and he has a fucking big, those old big screen TVs that were like deep, like the size of this window right here.
And like a tube, right? Like
Huge.
It went back.
Yeah. He just had one of those and he had hooked it up to like his computer and he just sat in his grandma's house and watched porn. Like he didn't even masturbate.
Wow.
He's like, I don't even like.
He just likes
it.
For
ruins
the art.
it for me. Yeah, and it. The art. But then the best was there was another guy. He was like a religious guy, which is always a great combination, like religion and porn. And his wife left him because of his porn addiction, and like in order to go online, he had to type her name in as a password. Like that was the last line of defense.
Wow.
And he's
so
like,
that's like, so it's the ultimate forever betrayal.
Yes.
It's like you are truly you're passing me consciously.
Yeah.
Passing me to
That's
do
just
this
addiction.
thing that we've agreed.
It's just a real addiction right there.
It's not just an addiction. That's an insidious thing to think of to stop it. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, it's probably gone through many cycles of like trying to get this poor guy to stop. But the idea where you're like, I got nothing else, man. It's just gotta break me. It's just gotta shatter me to the point where there's no coming back. So here, it's like Batman. Type in your name. He types in Lucius and it's like it destroys the machine.
This is Morgan Freeman.
All right, but consider this my resignation. That's maybe the worst Morgan Freeman of all time.
Right yeah. God damn it. I remembered too when he did like log in, it like they couldn't show what he was gonna do, so they showed him log in, and then it said like 15 minutes later, so it told you how long he was.
Damn.
Which I mean, I don't know what would have been. It would have been funny if it was like 6 hours later. So like he just went fucking hard in the paint.
Yeah, because when you say 15. That to me, like, I want to see how he consumes it. Like,
just
are there,
sweaty.
You know what I mean? Like, is it Minority Report? Like, he's like moving between tabs.
His
he like
life
sets
was
it up.
Terrible, dude.
Right.
The whole time he just had a box of fucking Bisquick on his fucking countertop. The whole time he never did anything with
awesome.
it. Like he's just living alone because his family left him.
Oh.
Yeah. Shout out to there's somebody watching this is like struggling with porn addiction.
I'm sure. I'm just curious, like what. Yeah, when it becomes impossible to hide, I guess, because I don't know. Sometimes I'll chip a little bit with some porn if I'm waiting at a parking spot. If I'm literally like at 6:45 p.m. and I can't get out of my car until 7 p.m.
You
when it's free.
jerk off in your car?
No, I won't jerk off in my car, but every once in a while I'll look at some stuff. It'll start at celebjihad.com and then it'll kind of like spiral off from there. You know? I will never jerk off, but I also look at it as primer for when I get home, because then when I get home, I'm kind of like
ready for
I'm warmed up for my workout, you know?
With assuming you're talking about being with your wife, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't think
I go into the closet.
No, then I quietly
my older brother, same one that like can't handle pills.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna try to open this for a fourth time.
Go for it. He goes into his closet and stands up and fucking puts his phone like on the upper shelf of like the where he hangs the clothes. He turns on the shower. So the shower's running and he stands and masturbates in his closet until he's done, and then when he finishes he goes into the shower. So his wife doesn't like, she thinks he's showering.
Where does he come? Why doesn't he just do the whole thing in the shower?
I think he doesn't like
because
the
he likes
water.
watching the porn.
That too, yeah, I guess.
Interesting. I always look at the shower though, because I've only recently standing up and masturbating for me was like impossible.
It's weird
for a long time because like there's things I got to do with my hips. It's like it's a whole production. So it just took me a while to figure out a formula.
Dude, he owns his house. It's his home, and he's standing in the closet masturbating.
Maybe that's representative of something, though. Not necessarily that he's in the closet, but that it's like a dark,
it's symbolic of something,
shame-filled thing where he likes to feel like he's like, maybe he used to get like beat in a closet when he was a kid, and now that's the only place he can
feel like
come.
I would know if that was the case. I hope that's not the case.
Just every time you were out of the house, you just go worked over in a closet.
God damn it. That's a weird. Yeah, the whole thing's weird. So what was the prank that you mentioned before?
Oh yeah. So the episode of my podcast that's coming out next, or it may be out at this point, we're just discussing the title before we started recording, and then you were like, just save it for the show. So it's called The Pranking of Brendan Sagalow.
Okay.
And I guess I'll tease it, or I'll say the whole thing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, this will be out after it.
Mm-hmm. because the whole story, we go over it in such detail on the podcast between everybody that it involved that it's impossible for me to even recreate it right now. So it boils down to this, where I was driving with Brendan across the city, dropping him off to a spot, and then I was going to head home. So I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart. We're talking. We're like half pulled off to the side of the road, and he just is like, all right, see you later, opens up the door, completely doors a cyclist. Like, just fucking crushes this poor Haitian guy that was doing Mach 7.
Was he going this way or like?
He was going up.
Oh, so he caught him.
Caught him full speed with the inside of the door. So the poor guy is like, slams, and he gets up and he's like livid. And Brendan's like, what'd you do to the door, dude? And I go, hey, man, ask him if he's okay. I was like, please ask him if he's okay. And Brendan's like, hey, you okay? And I'm like, are you good, man? Like that's I don't care about my door. I care about this fucking dude that just got rocked. And he noticed that we were being nice, so he kind of like cooled down. Plus, he was very clearly not like, it didn't seem like potentially on the up and up, like he could be here illegally or whatever. So he immediately was like, all right, like, thank you, fellas, and like got the hell out of there, which is, a problem. I don't know what to say. Those edible, I told you that edible that I took earlier. Yeah, it's just fully coursing through my body right now. So Sagalow, whatever, doors the guy. A piece falls off of my door. He's like, tell me what I owe you. Like, and then leaves. So the next day, I forget it. We were in our podcast group chat, and I made a joke saying like, oh, my door fell off like Tommy Boy today. And nobody laughed. Nobody acknowledged it. They actually just moved on from the conversation. So then I was like, hurt. Like, hurt that one, nobody found it funny, and two, nobody, like Brendan especially, didn't ask if anything happened. So I made up that it's costing me $500 to fix, and that it's gonna. And he's like, "Oh, dude, I'll help you pay for it." Like, well, I was like, whatever. And then I made up that it's way more actually. And then Nicole, my producer, photoshopped an invoice for this thing. Her boyfriend then changed his voicemail to my town's Mazda dealership, and we had Brendan call them and like try to haggle and pay for his half of the thing, and he ended up giving his credit card number and everything, and was going to be paid. I think he was going to be charged like $12.50 or something like that to his card, and he was like panicking. He didn't buy soap because he's like, I just can't this week, man. I just spent $1,200 on this fucking car thing.
And I don't think like a lot of people have contact. Like, at least when I was with Brennan, like he was, money was kind of tight. At least when I hung, like he's trying to fucking make things work in New York.
That would hurt anybody. Yeah. $1,200 is.
He's
tough.
riding the train from Queens. Yeah. Like he's not like.
Yeah. And he's got it. He made sure to say, he was like, hey, I'm actually doing okay right now. The podcast is doing well. He felt good about it. Yeah. But he was like, yeah, it's going to ding anybody. That is like brutal, where he's like, oh yeah, I can't. I can't go keto this month. It's all spaghetti. So that was the whole thing. And then, the reveal, we then played the video. So Nicole, my producer, Nicole, and her boyfriend filmed themselves prank calling him. So we heard him sincerely haggle and like trying to like get the price down.
Was it hilarious?
It's one of the most unfortunate videos. It's so fucking funny, dude. You gotta watch it. Here's the scenario: the pranking of Brendan Sagalow.
That's fucking awesome.
Unbelievable.
I'm looking forward to
and
that.
And I'm not like a prank guy. I actually get really upset at pranks. I have no sense of humor about it. Mike Feeney, the other co-host, he is a huge pranking guy.
His thing.
That's his thing, because he's like just such a fucking like, he'll just go and get people. He's unbelievable. Very, very manipulative and smart.
Was all this before Gramercy?
Yes, this was in the days leading up to Gramercy.
This is what you were doing.
This is literally how I was spending my time. Yeah, because the reveal was the day before Gramercy. I started this on Wednesday before so the show was on Saturday. I think he doored the guy Tuesday night. I started this on Wednesday, and it ended on Friday.
Yeah, and Gramercy was big for you.
Biggest show of my life.
Can you explain just to people watching, like, what that was. I mean, to be fucking around with this during that week just is a testament of
to just. I mean, but that's the thing is it presented itself. Like I would have never thought to do this. Obviously, so Gramercy Theater, I got the opportunity to headline it. It's my biggest theater to date, or my biggest venue to date, and it's in my hometown. It's also like I opened for my brother-in-law's band there when I was like 11 minutes into stand-up, so it's kind of like a cool full circle thing in that. And I just have always loved this venue.
That's tight.
And so I got a chance to headline it, sold it out, unbelievable.
Was it through Live Nation too?
Yeah.
Like, how did that all come together?
My manager, he did just like set the whole thing up. He's you know, I'm pretty. I have a good work ethic, and I'm very lofty in terms of what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I got rid of my old manager. I won't even get into that. And then I got a new manager who is like just as similar, just a really good work ethic. Very,
because you're doing the road like a motherfucker, right? Like this run, you're out here, and then I saw some of your dates. Like you're traveling a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, like two weekends a month typically. Like sometimes 3. I try to do half, but I mean, yeah, I'm working hard, man.
Dude, are you burning out at all?
No, not really, because it's all like new material and shit. So I got a new hour since last year.
That's tight.
So I feel really good about it, and I'm turning over material, and I'm actually like I'm gonna shoot something I think in the summer, late summer, if not fall, and then I think I'm gonna try to write a new hour before that.
Damn.
Or at least have like the bones of something that I can kind of go out on the road and be excited about immediately. Because I don't know, this is all about, I feel like I'm hitting a good stride in terms of like my creative output, and I want to streamline it as opposed to like putting up blocks or trying to like, well, you don't want to do this or that. I want to let it flow out as much as possible.
So what's the model for that? Because you put your stuff on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of doing that? What are the pros and cons?
I mean, to me, the pros and cons, the cons are that you just have to write new material, which is hard, but that's also a pro. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a lot more work.
It's forcing you to write.
It's forcing me to write, yeah, and it's forcing me to come up with new shit and think of things differently. But that's the entire point of doing this. So that's why I don't mind doing it. The pros of it is that it gives me another 60 minutes of content to clip out and send my little Cloverfield monsters into the world to gather new fans, to promote shows, to do whatever. So it's all more or less content stuff, but I'm in it because I want to build a body of work, and I want to build hours, and I want to be prolific, and I want to continue to push myself to just put shit out all the time.
Is there any like drawback to pushing that hour so fast? Like, do you ever feel like when you look back at some of the stuff you did, like you could have tightened it more, or like done?
No, there's the stuff that I've done. For me personally, like the only thing I like regret technical stuff within specials, not the material. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty happy with everything that I've done, and I also just look at it like an old tattoo, where it's like, no, that's a moment in time. Like that's who I was at that point. Yeah. So that's what I captured. That's the level. That's the comic I was. I wouldn't have put it out if I didn't like it at the time.
Yeah.
Like I'd fucking scrap something before I put out something that I hated.
Yeah.
So if I grow to not like it, that kind of just means I developed or progressed or evolved in a different direction.
Dude, it would be weird if you put something out and then 5 years later you came back to it and you're like, this is exactly what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
No, not at all. And like, the thing is, to most people, they could watch one of my specials and then another one and be like, oh, I don't really see the growth. And or like, it's not, they're like, yeah, it's different jokes, and I like this one better than that one or whatever. But there's so much stuff that we're doing that's kind of behind the scenes comedy stuff that the audience doesn't necessarily care about even, but that's better. than what you were doing because your shit's not built on cards. Or built on sand. It's like it's a strong foundation, and you've done the correct work.
Yeah. So what's helping you push that hour so much? Is it doing the road more, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think doing the road more, and I just think not drinking has helped quite a bit. Like that gives me. I wouldn't say clarity. Yeah, I guess clarity is kind of the word, but clarity, and also I don't have any days where I'm like wasted days where it's just fully I can't and won't do anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just remember because I'm a horrible hangover guy, and every single time I would drink, be great, probably have a good show, have a great time, then the next day would be like it may not exist. It may as well not exist.
Yeah, Rosebud. She came on, she's sober, and like she mentioned like sober people just do comedy differently. And that like they're not out getting fucked up every night, so they recover quicker and like I think there are pros and cons to it because like I miss out sometimes because I don't use and don't drink. But I'm also present for everything. And
you're not embarrassing yourself in front of people.
I still do, but it's
not in the same way. It's like at least now if you embarrass yourself, it'll be probably a joke that went too far. As opposed to like, let me smell your pussy. You know, exactly. Like some awful shit that you're like all fucked up and you had no idea you even said.
I want to talk to Bobby Kelly at some point because I started stand up after being sober for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And I think he was sober before he got into doing stand-up.
Bobby was sober because Bobby is one of the youngest addicts I've ever come across.
Did he get sober like 15 or something?
I think he did, yeah. But he had already been in and out of jail and shit. Like he was a juvenile delinquent. He had a tough upbringing. It's wild.
But it's just so weird to be in this space because so many people are getting trashed all the time. It's what most people are doing in stand-up.
It's what most people are doing in life. Like, dude, outside of this business, it's so funny because when I was in advertising and like digital content store, all that shit, booze culture is huge.
Oh yeah,
huge in that because it's open floor office. It's all about socializing. It's casual. We're cool, man.
Yeah,
pop open that beer at fucking 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. It's like it's weird because it's very casual, and then of course it's like if you step out of line, they come down like a Republican.
Yeah, exactly.
but it's a weird like give and take because you'd see people struggle with it, but it didn't matter. You had to figure it out.
How long in the stand-up did you quit that job or quit working in a day job?
So I 5 years, 5 I guess, maybe 5 or 6. But I didn't really have the choice. 6 probably, 6 or 7. I don't know.
Were you just fired or?
Yeah, because so what happened was they were great. They were awesome and let me do auditions. I was on a bunch of MTV stuff at the time. I had a web series with Cosmopolitan magazine called Sexy versus Skanky. Still unfortunately up on YouTube. And and so I was making all this additional money. I didn't do shit in terms of stand up in the road, but I was like, my name was growing. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to get to headline.
You were a city comic.
I was a city comic. I was doing clubs and stuff. I wasn't in at the Cellar or anything like that, but I was in at all the other clubs. And I had just seen DeStefano, my boy, basically get jump from host to headliner from Guy Code. So that was his trajectory.
I thought you said Geico for a second.
Yeah, he was the voice of
Geico commercial.
He was the lizard. It was sick. No, but he Guy Code and Girl Code or whatever that exploded.
Yeah,
and then he immediately became a headliner, started selling tickets, all that shit. And so I was on a similar path in terms of I had all this MTV stuff about to come out, most of which actually got canceled, shelved.
What year was this, by the way?
I'm just trying to 2013.
Okay, so there was.
Or no, well,
Facebook.
it started in 2013. I think I quit or stopped. Yeah, no, that's about right. Yeah, 2013, 2014.
So Facebook was going, Instagram had just barely started.
No clips or nothing like that.
Yeah. And YouTube was not anywhere close to what it is today.
No, I mean YouTube was very popular. It was huge, but it wasn't like, not in terms of comedy. It was
people
like
weren't putting out specials.
I think Russell Peters may have gotten famous from YouTube at that point, but it was by mistake. It was like just an hour that got thrown up there and several million views, and people, whoa, look at that, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, not like used in any way like we're using it right now. I remember Instagram definitely existed because Carly Aquilino posted a picture of me and I got like 3,000 followers from like immediately 3,000 followers. That's the type of power that they had, like, or at least social media pull, because they were the young, cool
I don't even
show.
know who that is.
You don't know who Carly is?
No.
She's a really funny comic, and she's built herself into being that because, again, it's like she was 8 minutes into stand-up comedy. And then she gets this show. She has red hair. She's good looking. She's young. She gets hundreds of thousands of followers immediately. You're headlining.
It's crazy.
Yeah, what the fuck do you do? And to her credit, she
Figure
actually...
out what you do for 42 minutes.
I know. To her credit, she's worked since then and through then on being a comic, and she's a solid fucking good headliner now.
It's such a weird barrier to entry for like...
Yeah.
Like my buddy Brent.
That's
was
TikTok
talking,
shit now, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
People just immediately get like 500,000 followers, and they're like, "All right, I guess I'm a comedian."
I think I'm working with one tonight. Which is
Where is it?
super. I'm at Laughs tonight.
Oh, nice.
But it's so weird with those internet audiences though, because I've like featured a lot for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've like done any shows with them.
I mean, that's some of the young hip crowd. Like some of the alt shows in New York are like all young,
Just swipers.
mostly hot white girls.
Like,
yeah.
But it's so strange because they don't really know how to be in public. Like they don't. This is like the first time they've gone out of the house this month.
Yeah.
And they react to like they're fucking dying at setups.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. It's cool. I mean, well,
it's
that's
cool,
great.
but it also annoys the shit out of you because you're like, I actually can't use any of this feedback. Like if I'm working something out or like have something that's kind of newer, I'm like, I can't like take this opinion and this feedback on anything, you know?
I mean, that's the exact opposite experience I've had with those types of crowds.
Really?
Those crowds in New York tend to be the most sensitive, the most withdrawn. They all look like they're dressing the part of what they think adults that are out should wear. And they all are like kind of shocked by reality a little bit. So they're good. You can work them into being good crowds. And I always have fun because annoying people is also like super fun, especially crowds like that where it's like low stakes. Who cares?
What part of New York is that generally in? Brooklyn?
I mean, now there's all these different production companies or production like kids. They're younger kids that start in comedy. Comedy.uo. I think it's Underground, Overground. Those guys, they put on a show at Cat's Deli. They have like shows everywhere. They go they're like little pop-ups. So
it's just comics that are doing it. Okay. Yeah, man. It's weird. I just did this show or 2 shows in the middle of nowhere in Oregon, St. Helens, Oregon, and fucking what was the other one? Can't think of. Lebanon, Oregon. And my buddy, he just used Facebook ads. Like it was just, he sold 250 tickets with Facebook ads.
No kidding.
And it worked so well. He put up a couple clips of us and like I featured, he headlined and he made great money and did great for himself. And like, it's crazy to me because I'm like, there are people that, I mean, you spent how long in New York learning how to do stand up and really it comes down to can you sell tickets to get the actual work that you want to do.
Well, that's what it comes down to, especially when you're headlining, where it's like, hey, you'll get the opportunity in some places, and then if you don't sell, it's like, yeah, even if you kill, it doesn't matter.
They don't care.
They don't care. They're like, oh, great job, dude. You're really funny. We'll never do this again.
Yeah.
Do you know how many places I've done, like, especially when I first started headlining, couldn't sell like 10 tickets, and people would be like, dude, you are really funny. We'll see you in like 10 years.
Well, what's the approach then? Like, how do you deal with it? Because you're doing all this stuff on YouTube. You're doing like you have your podcast, all that. Like, you got this new manager and shit. You dropped the shitty one.
That's the approach. The approach is shotgun blast. I'm doing everything. So I'm all over Barstool. I'm all over every other podcast. Every big podcast in New York. I'm guesting on pretty regularly if they have recurring guests, and I'll go out to LA, I'll go out to wherever to do pods, social media, all that stuff, every single account, just consistent output, all that. And, in terms of like selling tickets on the road, everybody does direct marketing. Like everybody uses social media ad buys and everybody can target audiences. So I don't do that. The people I work with do. Mm-hmm. And that's part of getting people that know what they're doing and people that are like set up to approach the business from a futuristic, not futuristic. You get what I'm saying. Yeah. From that approach, as opposed to being like, just keep killing and it'll happen.
Well, it just doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. Like you do this thing because you want to get good at it.
Yeah.
And then
but it also, here's the thing, you can still do it that way. You can still do it by trying to get good at it. It's just other people do it differently. Like I have no regrets in terms of how my career has been progressing. I certainly wish there's been a bit more stability in places, but even that has like made me into what I am now. And also I'm now facing this modern landscape or modern shit with all the tools of, I know what I'm doing in terms of social media, podcasting, blah, blah, blah. And I'm also good at comedy. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have a leg up, or not even a leg up, but now it's a little bit of a fighting chance.
Dude,
against
it's so
others.
Funny when you see somebody that's like, they're great at comedy, but they don't understand a fucking thing about social media.
Yeah.
And like, it's just uncomfortable. It's like an old person trying to understand like how to send emails or.
It really is. Yeah.
It's bad.
There's a lot of people there's a lot of the old guard in New York that some evolve with it and then others sneer at it. And then, and they may not need it or they just disappear. And then others like, they just don't ask for any help. So they do the bare minimum work of what they see. Like there's so many comics that are like, it's like, dude, you might as well just not be doing anything. Like, don't put that out because it looks like you shot it on like the first camera ever made and it sounds like you did it on the moon.
It's
like,
crazy.
Yeah. It's just don't put it out.
Yeah, but there's also like a learning curve of it. I mean, I definitely, even with doing this, like it's...
Yeah, I mean, look at you. You got Howard Stern's board.
I'm blowing up, dude. Our Patreon has 5 Patreon subscribers now, so I think my mom's subscriber.
That's nice. Well, that's support.
Yeah, it's support. It's just, if some of you fucking listening and watching could support now that I quit my day job, that would be huge.
When did that happen?
Did I quit January?
Oh, nice. Recent.
And, yeah, it's been wild. Like,
yeah.
I've done more stand up. I had a bunch of shit on the road booked, and like I'm getting to do longer sets finally. And I just got a feature weekend at Tacoma next weekend. So
nice.
I'll be with Brennan Schaub.
And, okay.
Yeah, it should be fun. So.
I'm curious what he is like personally.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm
gonna break this in half.
What is it?
It's an edible, or it's a elixir.
Okay.
But it will not open. It will not peel.
How strong is it? 100?
100 milligrams, yeah.
You're not doing anything tonight, right?
No, this is the best.
Yeah. You remember when I was trying to get you to do that before the show at Spokane?
Well, oh yeah, the edible thing?
You had 101, I think.
Yeah.
Your buddy had given you it. I was like, it was before the late show. I was like,
I think so. Yeah.
Take it and see if you can rally through.
That's the thing is now. So I do that like the edibles crowd work thing, or I had that special. And I almost want to do that. Like if I ever get to the point of like adding shows or something, I would like to add that as like a late show just to be like, yeah, I'll just do edibles and just do crowd work. It'd be fucking awesome. That's so fun.
Yeah, man.
So, because
so what's like a heavy dose for you?
This is still pretty heavy. I mean, I can take this, and this is what I typically take. But like, also, this is different than New York edibles because I just took 30 milligrams from
Pioneer
like
Squares.
Yeah, and I feel extremely high right now.
Yeah, and you're taking that.
Yeah. Well,
dude.
Yeah,
it's like
what should I eat? That's the question.
Oh, I can give you a couple places.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't want to disclose where you're staying right now, but in 4 weeks, people are gonna know. Did you? That made me think. So Sean Kemp has a weed shop. Yeah. He also has a drive-by shooting charge. Yeah, he's got 2 of them. Like he's got 2 weed shops, 1 drive-by charge. Oh my God. But did you read? They just released on ESPN. Like there's no more charges.
No kidding.
They're dropping the charges. So
because he was in his right. Was he defending himself?
Okay.
What state was it in?
It was here. He lives here. Not too far from where we're at right now. There was a weekly show my buddy put on, Tony Peters.
In Seattle? And
it was down.
Was busting gats in Seattle?
I think it was down.
I'm looking this up.
I think it was Southgate. Or, what? It was south of here a little bit. But there was a weekly show here, probably like 5 blocks this way. And it was called Town Pub, and he would come out and support. Like it was just a mic, dude. And our mics are more like kind of shows here, like they're
Tacoma.
It was down Tacoma.
Yeah.
So he would come out and just like support live comedy and shit.
No shit.
Yeah, he was super, and he's done a lot of stuff like that. But they said in the article that somebody broke into his car and stole his phone, and then he used Find My iPhone to go and confront that person. And then when he did, they started firing at him, and so he fired back. And the picture of him and Gary Payton is hilarious, dude.
Wait, what?
There's a picture of the 2 of them walking, like, I don't know, outside of, like, after he got released. They're both wearing Seattle crack, and dude, he looks fucking terrible. Like, let me pull that.
Is he still big? Because I know for a while he was, even when at the end of his playing career, they made the joke that he ate Bobby Sura, who was his point guard on the Cavaliers.
He got huge at the end, but like.
He was so fucking good. If you guys are unfamiliar with Sean Kemp, I assume you're not, since you probably have a pretty big local audience.
A lot of Seattle people.
But watch his old highlights. I remember when I was in 4th grade, I had a basement for the first time in my life. We moved to Rockland County from right outside of West Point.
I'm listening. I'm just pulling up this.
And so I had one of those mini hoops up on the wall, and I used to wear a Sean Kemp jersey and throw myself alley-oops and do the like fakes. Oh my God, that's from the thing?
It's not from the thing. I misunderstood it, but
still,
still,
my
like,
God.
He just has.
Dude, he has like lazy eye tits.
He's got, and that's Gary Payton next to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice that they still hang out.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So they have a thing. They have a thing here in the summertime. Like LeBron came recently, like the past year, the year before, but Jamal Crawford puts it on. It's
the crossover. Yeah.
It's fucking sick.
I didn't know that was in Seattle.
Yeah, it's a Seattle Pacific unit. It doesn't make sense why it's there. Like it definitely should be at Key Arena or whatever.
Is Jamal Crawford from here?
Yeah. But it's at a shitty.
That's probably the point.
Venue.
Yeah.
But when people line up like
no kidding.
24 hours ahead.
They do that with like the league out in LA. What is that?
Kyrie's thing or whatever?
No, the one that always goes that like LaMelo, Drew League that LeBron just played in.
Jew. But sorry,
imagine
Kyrie
LeBron just went into a Jew league and just started dunking on people. That would have been bigger news.
I cut you off though about your basement.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I think I was just throwing alley-oops to myself in a Sean Kemp jersey and doing like the swirl around the rim thing.
Yeah.
You remember when he'd have so much momentum that it would carry his body in a full circle?
He was like 6'8", I think, which isn't that like...
Not for a 4. That's not big.
No, but he was built.
Crazy athletic.
Okay, so you played college basketball.
Junior college, yeah.
And what position? Point guard?
Mm-hmm.
You took steroids?
Yeah, it made no sense, dude. It was such a it had nothing to do with basketball. It had more to do with just like me trying to die. I was just like, I was entering into a very sad phase of my life, and I think that those steroids were a destructive choice. What
did you take?
Well, even worse, it was like it wasn't a proper steroid. It was like a pro hormone that they sold over the counter because while it's going through the FDA process, they're legally allowed to sell it. It's got andro. It's like a real steroid. So it's anabolic. So then once it gets rejected because it's a steroid, they take it off the shelf, change the wrapper, like shift the molecule around, and then put it back up. Same thing, goes through again.
It's like Jag 3D.
Yeah, I took.
Do you ever take that?
What?
Jag 3D.
No.
It's like this pre-workout. It was unreal, dude.
I took NO Explode. That was mine.
It made NO Explode look like tame.
No shit.
It had.
I'm glad I didn't.
Dimethylethylene or something in it. It was literally like a compound away from meth.
Oh
so you could take it and you would just. I would take it before playing basketball, and I could run for days. But the reason why they took it off the shelf, it was they had it at military bases, and guys would take it and go running, and like 3 guys had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And they took it off.
I mean, that's when, like, remember when ephedrine became, like, huge, and those couple of football players were, like, dropping dead during 2-a-days? Yeah. And they're like, what's happening? Apparently ephedrine's bad. And it's like, yeah, anything that thumps your heart that hard.
It feels so good, though, when you're on one of those things.
Yeah, you feel like you could punch through cement.
But you get, like, fucking micro penis, too. Like, it's almost cocaine.
Yeah.
Like, I've never taken coke. I never got into it. But I've heard just, like, your penis.
It's way worse on Adderall.
Is it?
Yeah, my dick was way worse on Adderall than it ever was on coke. Coke, it was more like soft and stroke-like. Like it didn't suck into my body. It just had no use.
Did it ever fully go in you?
It was just
on
no
Adderall?
good and had no use. On Adderall, it would be like an Audi belly button, like truly pulled into my full body, and just my dick was unrecognizable as a man-human penis.
Dude, that was one, because when I took a shitload of mushrooms, I took like 7 grams once. And I took a bath, like, to calm down. I want to say, like, it was not a good idea.
No, that's a terrible idea.
But I felt like it was going inside my body, like fully. I started to have like panic attacks and shit like that. Saw some really cool stuff, but like, it was too much.
You'll learn when you're hallucinating that hard and you're like looking for your dick. You'll learn your dick's not the answer.
No. Have you ever had sex on mushrooms?
Yeah.
It's not great.
I liked it, but there were times where I had to like keep it locked and low. You know what I mean? Like he loved it.
Sorry.
And we missed.
That was a bad one.
But he loved it. I don't know. I
had a couple other questions for you. We're almost at time, but
okay. I still have not opened this.
Crack it open.
I'm trying.
Just teeth it. No way. Oh, yeah. Talked about Sean Kemp. Did you hear this shit about Karl Malone?
Yes. I've known that for a long time.
Really?
Not to say I'm like some hipster on Karl Malone info. I'm just saying I've been appalled by Karl Malone for a long fucking time. And I'll have you know that well, I can't tell you why, but I did a joke about Karl Malone on the new Vice show that I'm on, and it got cut. They pulled it, yeah. And it was about this.
Really?
Yeah.
Really
good joke, too. It crushed.
What is it?
I don't remember. I mean, it was months ago.
Well, my buddy hit me up about it, and I was curious what you had to say, because, like, I had no knowledge of this at all.
Yeah.
And it was like for anybody that doesn't know, Karl Malone was like a judge or something in the slam dunk contest, or like, he was making an appearance at the All-Star game, and people were freaking out because it's like I guess, is it allegations at this point?
It's not allegations. No, it's proven, because it's proven through blood tests, and he had to take paternal tests and stuff. Like, so when Karl Malone was gonna get drafted into the NBA, he came home, had sex with a 12-year-old girl, got her pregnant.
I thought she was 13.
She gave birth at 13.
Okay.
She was 12 when he raped her, and
it wasn't consensual.
No, it was, but she was a kid.
Yeah, no, that. God damn it!
I mean, it was as much as I guess it could be, but yeah, she's a kid. I want that to be the clip to show how progressive I am, because I really understand. You know,
God,
Adam.
I had read something about a frat party, so where I went to in my head was just
she deserved it.
It was like maybe he dosed her or something like that. Like
no,
yeah, I didn't even think about. Yeah, that's got. Yeah, it's like so gross.
Dosed her juicy juice.
So and then she gave birth.
He wanted not only did he fuck one kid, he fucked two kids and his own kid because he wanted nothing to do with them. Did not take ownership over that. She's trying to get him paternity tests. He's refusing to take it. Whatever. This kid grows up without a dad. She grows up with, in the same poor southern area that he had lived in before. No help, no nothing. He's making millions of dollars, living his fucking life as a successful child rapist.
I hate that I said what I just said. I fucking hate myself so much right now, dude. God damn it. Oh, I went to law school.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I feel pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, no, you should right now. You're on like 30 milligrams of edibles, about to go up to 130.
Like, hey,
I'm the one that's not fucking. Jesus Christ.
So this kid ends up being like a huge D1 recruit for football, ends up playing in the NFL for like 8 seasons or something like that. I guess at some point Karl Malone met him when I think he was about to be drafted into the NFL, and he more or less was like, well, there's nothing I can do for you now anyway. And like just a complete fucking sociopath, piece of shit. And that's the more or less the story. Look it up. It's got way more information, probably more truths than what I just said.
I mean, at least he could have like taken him to the gym. Like Karl Malone loves the gym. There were like workout videos of him doing like his warm up was 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, I remember watching his workout where he would pull a cart like an ox. Like he'd put a yoke around his neck and he'd add payloads to the cart.
Yeah.
And he'd run it up the hill like a horse.
Insane.
Yeah, dude.
He was and weird energy from Karl Malone on a lot of different levels. One of which being like he was it Bo Jackson that was like really into like bow hunting, and
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like Karl Malone is a big fishing guy. Like
he's a hillbilly. He's like So initially, I remember like when I first heard of this, they were like, "Oh, it's like a down south thing." I'm like, "What?" I remember being like, "Oh, okay, yeah," because I think I learned about it when I was like 15 or something, and I was like,
he became your favorite player.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, I remember my mom loved John Stockton, hated Karl Malone. I just assumed she was racist, but I think it was because of that. And it's so weird, man. When I was just like, okay, I guess that's a down south thing. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, that's not an anywhere thing. Like, what are we talking about?
Crazy.
Here? That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I think that has to be the last NBA event they're going to invite him to, right? Like he can't come. It's crazy.
I mean, if there's money for them to make,
I guess, but that's just going to get worse. Like. I totally like on the Vice show. I'm like, this is my Hannibal moment. I'm gonna take down Karl Malone just like he did Cosby. But it's like that's only gonna get worse. Like the pressure is just gonna get hotter.
I also it seems unnecessary. Like he's so far past his. I'm curious what. Like
unfortunately, he's now number 3 all-time scorer. So he's always in the conversation.
Stockton's to blame in some regard for that, because it's like if he wasn't such a good passer, we wouldn't have to be dealing with Karl Malone. And
that's a great point.
Like he's not like coming forward with any of this shit. I would love
John Stockton.
He's like a super
anti-vax, like hardcore. Yeah. John Stockton.
He's fucking Eastern Washington.
Yeah,
he's in Spokane, and my buddy like hoop with him a lot because he was on the.
I would love
like it was not the main team for Gonzaga, but it was like they had an alternate team that people could play on. My buddy tried out, and he said like they played at 4:30 in the morning, like every morning, Monday through Thursday or something. And when Stockton dribbled the ball, it was like in the actual court where the Zags played.
Yeah.
And he was like, it sounded like a fucking bullet hitting the ground. Like it was the hardest. You could hear it from like outside, just his dribble.
Well, he has like shockingly big hands.
And like Gary Payton even said, somebody asked him like, who's the hardest person to guard? And Gary Payton, they were like, was Michael Jordan the hardest? He's like, fuck no.
Yeah.
No, never. Like Jason Williams, not him either. It was John Stockton, because people that were fundamentally sound you could not get the ball from him.
Dude, that, and you ever watch like compilations of John Stockton setting picks? It's some of the most violent shit you've ever seen in your life. He literally is like a bear wrestling another bear. He's just like slamming into John. Like, I think he's like throwing his chest at David Robinson. Like, he's a tough motherfucker.
That's wild.
Yeah, he's wild. But
and he does not want to be vaccinated. That is
I mean, you know, you teach their own. I don't give a shit at this point. But it's like, but Karl Malone, it is weird that must have come up at some point during their teammate history, like that, because he had to acknowledge the kid. I think at some point, if I'm not mistaken, like this, it was like Kobe with the Denver trial. Like, I think there was something, but like he had to have known, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to like
begrudgingly getting this guy into the Hall of Fame.
Well, like I was actually talking to somebody about this. Like, there are great NBA duos that hated one another.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine being on the court with somebody and just like throwing them a pass and just like despising them as a human being? Like, you're winning. Like, when Shaq and Kobe were winning, they hated one another.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I don't know if that was before my time. I wasn't.
What? Shaq and Kobe?
No, Karl and Stockton.
I watched them a lot.
Really?
When I was younger. Yeah. And it was like, it's unbelievable. There's nobody that runs that like that, like them.
NBA Jam was like the full.
But the way they ran the pick and roll, dude, it's like James Naismith or whoever would like cum his pants if he saw the way that basketball was played with them. Like, it's the most perfect two-man game ever. Like, slicing passes from John Stockton off the dribble.
Malone shoot?
His mid-range was fantastic.
Okay,
he developed into a fantastic mid-range guy, even out to like 18, 20 feet. But
for comedy fans right now, this part of the podcast is really interesting. By
they must love this. Yeah. But John Stockton's the reason I learned how to do like the off-the-dribble one-hand bounce pass.
Really?
Because it's one of the most effective. Oh shit! He just passed the ball.
Left?
Yeah.
That's
you
hard.
do it with both hands. Yeah. Well, my strong hand dribbling, weirdly enough, was left to start.
Really?
Yeah. I don't shoot lefty. I shoot righty, but I kick lefty also. But then I became like, they both strengthened.
Have you been playing at all?
A little bit, just with my son though. Because
you want to go tomorrow?
No. I would if I brought basketball sneakers.
What size are you?
11.
I could probably wrestle something. Come on, dude. You need the cardio, right?
I'm gonna throw up, dude. What time?
Noon or 11.
Where are you playing?
It's not too far from here. We'll talk about it afterwards.
All right.
But it'd be fun. The guys I play with, like I just went to a new place, and it's like the LA Fitness is fucking good. Like,
okay,
it's good. Runs.
I literally just had an asthma attack last week playing.
Really?
Yeah.
With your son?
No. I played like a full court run.
Okay.
And I was like, I played one game, and I was like, I'm done. That was it.
Was it indoor?
Indoor, full court, 15 to 15. Dude, I ran off of 4 picks at one point, and I'm like, guys, like as I'm running off the screens, I'm literally like, guys, this is like, stop doing this. I'm not fucking Steph Curry.
I'm not. Yeah.
And then I caught the ball. I'm dead tired. I 8 feet short.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Dude, my knee is bad right now, and I've been like trying to rehab it a little bit, but I keep playing through it, and it's like it keeps having that like giving out feeling.
Oh, yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
It's,
I almost went down on stage from that. Like my
Really?
knee displaced a little bit, and I was like, oh.
Fuck that. All right. So where can people find your stuff?
At I am Mike Cannon on social media, and then Mike Cannon Comedy is my website, and youtube.com/Mike Cannon Comedy. I have 3 specials up there and my first album just on a one shot. But yeah, I have 4 hours of comedy. I have a ton of sketches. I did a travel series to Alaska that's up there. Ton of stuff. So check it out.
Podcast too.
Podcast, Here's the Scenario, with Brendan Sagalow and Mike Feeney. And yeah, listen, I would check out the pranking of Brendan Sagalow. That's not even the format of the podcast. We're typically like hypothetical and stuff.
Right now, sorry.
I thought you were
I'm like self-conscious. Keep going. Sorry.
That's it.
Okay, here's the scenario.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, share, subscribe, do all that shit. And then if you're just listening to us, rate and review us wherever you're listening. Throw in a comment. Helps us out quite a bit. And then we are on Patreon, patreon.com/FNFpod. We're going to leave you guys. Oh, and we're on Instagram too, at FNFpod. We're going to leave you with Jaga.
I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool. 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 Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool.